Looks like we on.
Yep.
Looks like it.
Yep, looks like it.
All
Yeah,
right,
here we
just share
go.
it.
All right. All right. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Showtime TV. This is episode 3 with a conversation with men of color. And I have 4 distinguished guests this evening: Miguel Feliciano, Corey Ferrell, Derrick Reed, and Imam Umar Hassan. Gentlemen, good evening and thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you for having
Good
us.
evening.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. I want you gentlemen to just introduce yourselves. So you can talk about your profession, your education, your family, whatever, how you want to introduce yourself for a couple of minutes. We're going to start off with Miguel, Corey, D. Reed, and Omar Hassan. So Miguel, you first and foremost.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Miguel Feliciano. I'm a longtime, all my life, resident and native of Wilmington, Delaware. I'm a father, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm trying to be the best man I could be in these crazy times.
All right, Corey.
All right, how you doing? My name is Corey Ferrell. Resident of Wilmington, Wilmington firefighter, also work several other different jobs. I own State One Fitness and State One Safety, and glad to be here today.
D. Reed.
What's up, man, everybody? I'm Derrick D. Reed, author Derrick D. Reed of the book Mindset Go. I'm also an entrepreneur, native of Wilmington, Delaware, from the Riverside Projects. You know, I like to say I come from the basement all the way to progress. So from the projects to progress. I'm here and I'm just happy to be here with the guys. And we too, Omar. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, Imam.
Imam Umar Hassan, community activist. I guess on this show, instead of a religious leader, I'm the president of West Tennessee Neighborhood Planning Advisory Council. Been an activist for over 50 years in and out of prisons, trying to reform some minds, including my own. And I missed you the last time, so I'll try to make sure I got you this time.
Okay, glad you're here. Okay, we're going to stay with Imam Hassan, and then everybody else can chime in. All 4 of you gentlemen are fathers. A couple of you are grandfathers as well. Just talk about the significance and the importance and the joy of being a father. I'm going to start off with Imam Umar Hassan.
You said the joy of being a father?
Oh yeah, all the good stuff, you know.
I don't know. My dad had 4th grade education, but he had good common sense. And so over the years, when I came home from Vietnam and got married and started having children, I realized how my father helped raise us, that was a significant way to raise myself. Struggled at first, and then I began to love and learn about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And so I based my life on trying to be an example for my 3 sons. And I got 34 grandchildren and 22 great-grandchildren. So wow, I think it's important for me to be a role model and leave them something. I'm glad to hear the brothers talk about entrepreneurship, because I was doing business in Senegal in the 80s and 90s. And I'm trying to reconstruct that through the neighborhood planning councils to show these children how important economics is. You know about Black Wall Street, but since I've been retired from down the dock for the last 9 years, I found that there was 100 Black Wall Street cities, 33 of them in Mississippi, and most of them on the eastern shorelines from Boston all the way down into Florida. And I was really excited about that because I want to bring halal foods from Newark, New Jersey down 95 to 85, and then bring that produce from down that way back up here, because we need to start feeding our own selves, and we need to start writing the history of our own selves. So I call myself an elementary school teacher, and when they ask me where do I teach at, I say in the hood where I was raised up and born, West Center City.
Beautiful. Okay, Derrick Reed.
Yes, sir.
Joys of being a father.
I'm a man that wear many hats, and I would like to say that one of the best hats that I put on is being a father. I have 3 daughters and 1 son, all by my wife. Thank God. I mean, no baby mama drama.
Right.
My daughters are inspiring in their own way of being entrepreneurs, and my son as well. I love being a father. Again, I wear many hats and own actually three businesses, and most people know about the barbershop, but they don't know about the other two. However, one of the best things and greatest things accomplishment is having being a father. I remember growing up without my father being there, and not saying he was a bad guy. For whatever reason, it didn't work out between him and my mom. When I was like 5 years old, they got divorced. Y'all know the story. And then he goes gets another wife, and he just somehow, we fall through the cracks on that. I remember him not being there. I remember him not being there for Christmas and the holidays and stuff like that. So I never wanted my kids to grow up like that. I never wanted them to experience not having a father in the house. So my oldest daughter is 30 now. She had 30 Christmases with me there. So, this is a joy of being a father. I love it. I love it. And I think most men, or a lot of men today, should take it more serious and know the importance of being a father, not just to your daughters, but not just to your sons, but also to your daughters as well, because they need us, especially what's going on in the streets now. Very important to me being a father.
Yeah, and for the daughters, the father is the first man that's in their life. Definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
Definitely. Corey Ferrell.
Yes, I'm a father of one, a grandfather of two. Beautiful little granddaughter and my grandson. My son, I couldn't ask for nothing better. I love him to death. He's been a great father. He's doing what he's supposed to do. The joy of being a parent is just seeing them when they walk through that door and they got that big smile on their face and they want to come and hug you and kiss you. My son even comes and sits down, and sometimes we agree to disagree on some things, but at the end of the day, he always tells me, "I love you, Dad," and I tell him, "I love you too, son."
That's very important. Okay, Miguel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The joys of being a father for me is like I was second every brother that's on here. It's a joyous thing. I one too was I for one had divorced parents as well at a young age. I'm sure many of us probably share that same sentiment. But I was a young parent. I was a teenage parent when I became a father. I was still in high school, and one of the joys was to see my sons grow up, to grow up with them. I have four sons, two adult sons, and I have two younger sons. And just to kind of see them grow up to become men, and to see what kind of man they turn out to be, letting them live their lives the way that that they feel fit, but have enough trust that I instilled enough morals and enough values in them, so they could be men of men of distinguishment, and raise them to be strong men. So I hold that joy very seriously, and that's one of the things that I pretty much put a goal in my life to be not only the best man I could be, but be the best father I could be as well. And teach my kids right, teach my sons right to be good men. But it was a struggle
Right.
coming up as a young father, being a teenager, still in high school, and having to wear so many hats and to work so pretty much ever since high school, and have the responsibility at such a young age. A lot of men in our community uh, may have ran from the responsibility, or maybe felt as though they wasn't ready for it. But as a teenager, when it came to me, you're never ready. You're never really prepared to be a father until it happens. You don't know if you're ready until it happens. So happening at a young age for me was just handling the responsibility, uh, making my commitment to all my sons, all my children, that I commit my life to you and do the best I can. So it's been a joy, it's been a pleasure, and I give it all to the Most High for blessing me with such good kids.
Right. All this about all you said to your entrepreneurs. I want you all briefly to talk about your business. But before you talk about your businesses or business, what motivated you? What inspired you to become an entrepreneur? We can stay with Miguel. We can go first.
Um, well, I've been an entrepreneur for many years. I incorporated my first business, I believe it was July 4th of 2000. So it's been about 20 years that I've been an entrepreneur. And at first I started out doing fashion and modeling, and then I incorporated another business where I was doing promotions, entertainment, and marketing. And then I started doing working with the Youth Reach Council in the city of Wilmington. I had a contract with them, And now I learned that not only do I work with my mind for entrepreneurship, I learned to work with my hands. So I have a contracted business where I actually go out and I do moving, storage. I do light carpentry work, painting, and I have a team of people that I also employ when I get projects. But I also go out of state and I do a lot of jobs out of state, some environmental work, some machinery work. So, you know, I just kind of trying to dibble dabble in everything. I have a MW Feliciano is in enterprises where I enterprise myself, whether I'm doing something clerical, administrative, marketing, promoting, or if I'm repairing something, forming a team to put together any type of projects as far as labor projects, hauling, moving, and storage.
Right.
You know,
Okay,
so,
Derrick.
but what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you had asked a question about what inspired me and motivated me.
Yes, definitely.
Have more than one income. Jobs are not guaranteed or not secure
Yep.
when you are dependent upon an institution or a corporation to provide a living for you. So it's been times where work wasn't paying enough,
Right.
you know, and I need to have extra income. So I put my head together, put a team together, and say, hey, what can we do to create a secondary income, whether it be from network marketing or, like I said, from contracting and working with your hands.
Okay. Hey, D. Reed.
Yes, sir.
What inspired you to be a business owner and talk about the businesses that you have?
Yeah, I think it started with me as a young age. I think the only job I probably had, honestly, Omar, is a summer youth job.
Okay.
I'm a person, yeah, that was back in, I don't even know
those.
how, I started cutting hair when I was a young boy, so I didn't even realize I had my own business, even as sixth, seventh grade, you know. But I remember having a summer youth job at one time. With me personally, I like freedom. I don't like control. I'm not a control freak or nothing like that. I just like the thing. I don't like people tell me that I can't go here, can't do that. I don't want to have a boss. You know what I mean? For those, it may work. You know what I mean? But me, since I think cutting hair so young and have my own business doing what I want to do and turn it into a real business, it kind of like trained me to, you know, be by myself in the sense to have my own business and come and go as I please without clocking in. You know what I mean? Not knocking anybody that does that. It's good. It's still good, you know. But for my road, entrepreneurship was something that was probably embedded in me too. And just to show you how important a father presence is, for that little bit of time that my dad was there during those times. We came back in my life as I got older too. But when he was there before he left, I remember him being an entrepreneur. He had a construction company. So I remember him, you know, going to work and stuff like that, even as a kid. And I'm like, wow. He used to take us on the jobs, me and my twin brother, Freddie. And I remember one guy calling my dad boss man. Now we looked at each other like, oh, dad, the boss. You know what I mean? It felt good to us. You know what I mean? So I felt as I got older, I want to be the boss. I want to be a boss. You know what I mean? And if with me, I want to get out that bag. You know what I mean? So it seemed like entrepreneurship was a way where I could get, you know, a lot of money. You know what I mean? I used to think that way coming up. So I started cutting hair at my house and I ended up opening up a barbershop, which is now His Image Barber Lounge. And I opened that up in 2006. So I've been an entrepreneur and running a barbershop with maybe like 8, 9 barbers in there pretty much all the time. We always have a good team. By opening that barbershop, it opened up a door for me to open up other businesses and to do other things. I own a transportation company. A lot of people don't know that. I own Easy Transit. I also own a renovation and remodeling company too called Trust Renovation and Remodeling. So we do what the brother do with the bathrooms remodeling, the basement. We actually did this basement, as a matter of fact. So, you know, those type of things. And I do a lot of hiring. I do a lot of subcontracting with certain people too as well. But I always wanted to be the person that can control things. Like, if you want something do it right. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So I always had that type of spirit. Quality and consistency, I'm big on that. You know what I mean? On everything that I do. Contrary to poverty relief, and I don't even know if y'all even know this, but Black people get a lot of slack when it comes down to owning construction companies and remodeling. Like, Black folks, I want y'all to understand, we got a bad name when it comes down to renovation, remodeling, construction work. You know what I mean? We had a bad name when it came down to barbershops. You know what I mean? So every time I hear stuff like that about us or us pertaining to a business, I step in and show them something different. At one time I was coming up, I knew everything about the game of barbering, from them saying that drug dealers used to use it as a hideaway so they can clean their money and all. I've been through all that era. I've been through the braids era. I've been through the curly era. And I remember barbershops getting a bad name. And I had to remember thinking to myself, hold up, that's not cool for us to have a bad name because this is something that we do own as in our community as a barbershop and salon. That's very important to us. And like people say, it's the Black man's country club. It's the cornerstone of our neighborhoods, the barbershops and salons, and even the churches. And we cannot allow this to fall under something negative, and it's one of the only things that we got. So I stepped in and opened up his image, which is actually biblical, and not that I'm a big religious person, but it is biblical. Genesis 1:27, created in his image and after his likeness. I want people to be reminded who we are, what we are, and that's what we created in the Almighty God's image. So that's called the shop, His Image. Just so we can have a good name too, and people, when they hear us, they'll think about that. No cussing in there. We got women that come there who unfortunately is bringing their sons to barbershops nowadays because a lot of men are absent and not able to even do those little father duties that father's supposed to do. Bring your son to the barbershop. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that we got a clean atmosphere. Corey been to my shop many times. He come in there. He's a rock star. You already know. His son come in there. That's my nephew. You know what I mean? He come in there. He's a rock star.
Yep.
And we did that because we wanted to preserve that atmosphere. So from there, I got into construction work. My dad was a construction worker. I opened up a construction company, again, a renovation company, because we had a bad name, you know what I mean? And I want to see us in a good light. So when you call me, we're going to get it done. We're going to be there on time, and we're not going to bullshit, you know what I mean? So lack of a better word, but I'm just letting you know. But I got into entrepreneurship mainly because I like the freedom of it. And I also want to represent us well in having great businesses and being great business owners.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's go with Corey. Corey, I know you got the physical fitness business, you got the security business. What motivated you to do both of those things, and how's it going?
Well, let me say one thing before we go there with Reed. One of the things that I think you forgot to say about the barbershop, that it is the Black man's therapy place too.
Yes.
Because brothers come to get stuff that's off their mind. They come to talk with other brothers, and just so somebody can hear them. Sometimes we just need to talk, and you just need somebody to listen. So the things about barbershops before, all this thing fell out, before the silky hair fell out, I was going to the barbershop too. And sometimes you just need that barber to listen or get that advice from the brothers that are sitting there.
I appreciate you saying that because that's 100% right. And probably one of the most important things, like Big Bro said, is the therapy. You know what I mean? It's very therapeutic because I know about everything. When I say I know about everything, I hear everything. I know everything. People bring me everything. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, you can help somebody by them being able to express themselves to you in a way they would not express themselves to no one else. No one else. So I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely.
No problem. I'm sorry. I had to get that out before we started. So, a lot of people know I own a fitness company and I own a small little security business that I do. What motivated me? I was just fitness. The man that raised me got me involved in fitness. Shadi Rashida. I can never take that from him. He taught me everything I know. He made me a U.S. champion, international champion, European world champion. Got me inducted into the Hall of Fame. So with something like that, that's what started me off with fitness. And I've been doing it ever since. I've been doing fitness for over 30 years. The security gig, I've probably been doing that almost as long. Shorty Wright started me off with my first gig. And, you guys might know Shorty, you might not. He's the photography guy. He started me off with my first gig and everything. I was probably too young to do it, but it was something that I grabbed hold of and I made it something of my own. I enjoy it. I enjoy being the boss. I enjoy helping other people. I subcontract people out from time to time too. So it's one of those things that I believe you should enjoy what you do. It makes your job much easier. Right. And I enjoy everything that I do.
Right, and the weightlifter and security go hand in hand here. You're a big dude, so Imam Hassan, you've been all the stuff you've done, and I know you had to be an entrepreneur at one point.
Well, my thing was international trade. We had a group called the African American Venture Capital Corporation. Back in the 80s when we were doing business with the Senegal. And my partner passed away. She was from Baltimore, And she was going back and forth to Africa, and some places back then they wouldn't have do business with the women. And my ex-wife told her that I know a man that you can take to Africa with you, and he'll do everything you need to do. So that man was me. I went in 1983 to 84 and 85, bringing back the fabric. She was in the fabric business. But what I found out over the years, that wasn't too many people interested in doing international business at that time. So I ended up being a longshoreman down the dock for 27 years, only because we had a contract with the companies. I like the brother said, I didn't like working for nobody else. But when I had to go to work, because I was getting ready to leave this town, my uncle was vice president of the union, and I went down there and I enjoyed working, and I learned the business of international trade, ships coming in and ships coming out, which I'm going to work on the last few years I got in my life. I'm 73 years old now. People say, well, you trying to start a business now? I'm as old as you are, because I got 34 grandchildren and 21 great-grandchildren that I want them to know the necessity of owning your own business, like all these brothers have talked about. And we can get family-owned international businesses. I got a loan one time from a prominent Caucasian man in town, and we had the only Black-run, owned, and operated temporary employment agency back in the 80s.
Right.
And when the man found out that I was trying to do international, putting temporary employees in international, he said, I didn't lend you the money to do that. So they, it showed me that they want to keep us in the mom and pop operations. One woman, wealthy woman, said, I'll lend them money for the small business, but I don't want them to get into the bigger international level of it. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think we need to be, because we're descendants of Africa. And Africa was here, the Moors was here long before the Europeans. And once we, if you remember the old Nation of Islam paper, when they had the two hands together, one from Africa and one for America, that has been one of my strongest ambitions to do international business, because when I was in Africa, they needed stuff from here, and we had the fabric at that time. But there's other things right now that we could be doing with Africa. As Ghana has offered African Americans to come there and do international business, and some of us are going there. And one of my dreams and my ambition is, when I get this money that I got to me inherited from my uncle, I'm going to go back to Senegal and start that international trade business, because like I said, I know about the shipping business now. I know where to go to do the shipping at. So, and I like that young brother said, I didn't like nobody tell me what to do. I'd rather do myself, Yeah. And so, and I'm still in that frame of mind. And like I said, I've been retired from down the dock for 9 years, and I'm still kicking out those ideas. I love the ideas of small business, but I think when I was down south, I saw the African-American community in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Muslims, the Christians, the Orientalists, all of them had an organic farm. And when I was in Macon, Georgia, it was the same thing. They were all making food that we're going to need in the next 20 years. Like I tell my children, 20 years from now, if we don't have our own businesses, if we don't have our own income coming in, these people who are running the country today can't make enough business for their own people. So, doggone well, they ain't never thought about us being in this kind of business. So it's incumbent upon us. My theme is on teaching this month has been forgiveness. If we could learn how to forgive each other for past things that we've done against each other, that we inherited to do, then we could come together. We spend $750 billion in this economy. We can't get $1 billion of that in our own pockets 3 or 4 times. That's my ambition. That's my desire. That's where my energy is going. I don't need nothing from nobody. No, in my life right now, I don't need nothing materialistic from nobody in my life, because God has made it available to me. I got enough money in my Social Security and my pension, my annuity money, and I get my uncle's money. I'm gonna really have some money that I can start kind of businesses that we produce a good revenue, but also a good brother and sisterhood about it. We used to have that back in the day. And Corey mentioned it, his adopted father. Brother Shadi, back in the day, man, shit, we had the corner stores, we had a tailor shop, we had all these things. So these things are not something that can't be done again. We just got to learn how to love each other again and stop hating each other like we do today, especially the young people. So I encourage all the young brothers, you know, go to your highest degree that you can go. But like that brother right there, I'm looking at, he says, I got this business, I got this business, I got that business. And I love that idea and I love that concept. And if we get more younger people involved in entrepreneurship, not only on the local level, but on the international level, my grave will be a good place to be for me, knowing that my children or somebody I know has made it this thing of Wall Street again for us, and that it includes what Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to do, international business, because it ain't nothing new to us. If we checked our history, we can see that we've been taking these ships across these oceans for thousands of years. And
Black Star Line.
That's I got. Matter of fact, old man, you mentioned carried the Black Star Line. Old man Baba Keys, who's one of my I'm as old as him now, 73. As when I was a young boy, he told me never lose your young spirit of wanting to do for yourself. 2%. You know, no matter how old you get, always have that entrepreneur mind and that entrepreneur activity going on to do something. Mine is food, because if we can feed our people and then house our people, we can change their minds. But as long as we go in the stores that somebody else owns, like these guys coming here now, we're the only community in the world, in the free world, that allows somebody to come in our community and take money out of our community and not put nothing back. So that's the kind of thing that inspires me to do entrepreneurship. And
so true.
You know, I'm still in that era.
So let's stay on the business for a moment. All of you are entrepreneurs at some point in your life. Some still are. We as a people, this is what some of us do, and anyone can comment about this. When I say we, I'm including myself. Hey, Derrick, you charge. I'm using you as an example.
Okay.
I'm going to use Corey as an example next. Derrick may charge $25 for a haircut. Brother come in. Yo, man, let me pay $15. Corey Ferrell has a security business. He charges $300 a night. I'm just throwing a number in the air. Brother come to Corey and say, yo, man, let me get it for $150. You see, we don't go into other stores owned by other people and try to make those deals. So we try to shortchange ourselves. And we got to realize, you know, Derrick got equipment he got to get. He got to get tools he got to get. He got barbers. He got rent. Corey got to pay rent, pay his workers. You know, y'all can't afford to be taking no cuts. Y'all can't afford to making no deals. You know, so someone, if all of you, 2 of you, 3 of you, 1 of you, just talk about the significance of African Americans supporting the African American businesses in an honest way. Anybody?
Can I say this? Can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you're absolutely right, because everybody's always, or should I say, I'm not going to say all of our people, but a lot of them want to look for the deal. When you go into Macy's or any of them other places, whatever the price is, they don't really change it.
Right.
Why should we? And everything. Right. I see, we had this discussion not too long ago. Omar, you remember. I said, we have these Black-owned businesses and stores, but not putting down the Asians, the Indians, and everybody else, but we'll go shop at their stores. If you have a restaurant, there's a soul food restaurant on 11th Street there, just to serve. You'll go in there and you'll complain and everything like that. But then you'll go over and spend all your money at the Chinese restaurant where they're not putting nothing back into our communities. Nothing. And you got these Chinese restaurants, you got these, how many liquor stores you know, not saying that we need them, but how many liquor stores you know that are Black owned that's in the city?
Right.
Okay, all Indian. They're under the Indian, under the Asian Grocers Association and all things like that. How much do they put back into our communities? They poison our communities, but how much do they put back into our communities? And they don't care where they're at. They could be right next to a school. And you see, they open up first thing in the morning and they close last thing at night. Okay, they if they didn't have to deal with us, they would. So I really believe we need to support our brother. You brothers down there, they need to support you. I support contractors that are black. I support that and everything. The work I get done on my house, I try to use nothing but black contractors. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody else, but that's what I do. Okay. I go to them soul food restaurants and everything. I support them. And because I know that they appreciate our business. You know, my son comes to Derrick and he won't go nowhere else, you know, of his personal preference. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'd go anywhere else, but he supports that brother and he's faithful. This is what we have to learn to do. We have to learn to be more faithful to each other so we could put our money in that have to circulate through our community over and over again instead of running out of our community as soon as we get it.
And then, and to say that, Corey, since we integrated, you know, for me, what you just discussed is really true. And we integrated this into this. I remember I seen Dr. King talking to Harry Benefali on Facebook, and he said, "I think I'm leading our people into a dying situation." We have inherited a dying situation when they took the prayer out of school and put us in their school system. This is the result. This negativity of us not supporting each other comes from what we learned from being integrated. Nobody else is ashamed to say, I've spent my money with my own people but us. Right. And that hadn't always been the case, you know. And then and I heard the brother say something that's cool too. He said, you know, a lot of construction entrepreneurs don't take pride in the work that they do. And you know this. Some of them we got some of the churches, my brother, a Baptist minister, Union Baptist Church. He said, we hired the guys from the hood and it was tore up the next day. I got a back door I got from the hood and I got to get somebody else to come in and get it. Now we inherited this because I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the quality of work they do. If they know how to do a better quality of work, and there's a lot of them that do, but they don't get the same opportunities when it comes to the big contractors. They have to go in as a subcontractor. That's another thing I'd like to break up as we have our discussions with government, because we're in a time that things are changing, and it's our time. It's always our time when the economy is down. And my dad used to say they used to start a war every 20 years. Well, they can't start no war now. The American people are tired of war. So now is our opportunities, like them young brothers. Come together and correlate each other together. I'd like to have all the black young contractors come together. Instead of going after one carrot, we go after all the carrots, you know? But we got to learn how to love each other again. And that's a missing problem in the African-American male. The sisters are together, but the males, you know, we got a problem, an ego problem, and all that other kind of craziness. But the thing that's really missing also in relationship to that is our spirituality. That's what kept us together through Jim Crow and all these other areas. And that's what we need to go back to. Christian, Muslim, whatever, as long as you're sincere in what you say you believe, we can be successful in this country.
Right.
And I'm done.
Right. Yeah, I also want to say a point. You said that a lot of people go into the black-owned businesses and they ask for discounts and everything. I go to any business and ask for a discount. I always been a negotiator. I'll go to a Macy's and be like, hey, can I get your employee discount? Straight up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't scared to ask for a discount. But what I did learn is that when I go to support my own people, you know, I expect quality just like I would expect it from any other place, any other business. You know, what's the service, when I get my hair cut, whether I'm getting my car detailed, whether I'm getting some work done in my house, you know, I expect good quality and I'll pay for good quality. You know, I even throw a tip in there. But if I get some quality that I'm not happy about, then I'm gonna say, hey, you know, I know you said it was this price, but I'm not too happy with the job, you know, so and I'll point out whatever it was that was any discrepancies or anything that I wasn't happy with. And then sometimes they will comply with something that the price is what it is. But I also know, hey, I'll pay the price that you asked, but I want to expect a good job and good quality, you know. So I think it's a kind of little catch-22 when it comes to asking for a discount. Now, if you get a perfect haircut or you try to do an excellent job where they went above and beyond with their service, then they deserve what they're asking for as well as a gratuity, you know, to make sure that, hey, man, I really appreciate you did an excellent job. Every time I get my hair cut, I like the cut. I'm happy. I throw an extra $3, $4 on there. You know, I get my car detail. I'm happy with it. I throw extra 10, 20 on there. You know, and the biggest thing about that is if I'm happy, I want to start telling people about the business. know?
Right.
So I really think that we should support our own people and their businesses by word of mouth. A lot of times we'll go and promote Nike. Oh, you see that, you know what I'm saying, new Nike sneaker, the new Jordans coming out. You see that the new Reebok coming out, new Adidas coming out. Or did you see that new movie? Or did you go to this restaurant right here? We need to start talking up our own businesses and our own people, you know what I'm saying, and support our own business by spreading good word and by spreading good quality, you know, those who get good quality services. You know, I love soul food. So every time I go look for soul food, I'm looking in and say, okay, who got the best soul food? I want to read some reviews, or I want to talk to a few people. You know, I love Caribbean food, so I'm always looking for good Caribbean restaurants to go to. You know,
I go all the way. I go all the way down. I go all the way down to the split, the 13 and 40 to get L&G soul food.
L&J,
We go all the way down
that's
there,
not,
boy,
I like
because they
them.
give me good quality grilled salmon, collard greens, and potato salad. And
Well,
I'm
you need to
there
go
at
over to
least
Just to Serve.
twice a month.
You need to go over to Just to Serve and check them out.
I go there too. I've been there and go there too. But I know the brother when he came from down here and started L&G. Me and him got in a good relationship, and he passed away a couple of years ago. And I still go down there because of the quality of the food. I'm not giving my money to some bad food that I don't like. And I went to the other one, and I took my wife there before she passed, and we had a nice time. And you know, I look for somewhere to spend my money with Black people now that I'm retired.
Right. Okay. Derrick D. Reed, do you have any comments about? I know the people come in your shop try to make a deal.
Yeah, I, you know, it's a lot to unpack there, Omar. If I could be honest, a lot to unpack. We have to understand, not all of us, but a lot of us have to understand the concept of business. We have to understand the concept of sowing the seed, planting the seed into a business. You know what I mean? We have to understand the concept of just business in general, you know what I mean? And, you know, we take a lot of things personal when somebody's going up on their prices. Now we got a problem when the brother go up on his prices, but as he gets good or as his credentials rises, his value rises, his timing rises, his asset, his availability. I remember me cutting a few heads at the house. So honestly, I was cutting 100 heads a week. I worked 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was doing 25 to 27 heads a day. I was doing 100 heads a week. You know what I mean? So what that tells you, I need to go up on my prices. I need to do something different. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting older. I can't keep doing 100. Corey, I can't do 100 heads a week. Like, I can't keep doing it. I got a family and a lot of stuff. So one of the most important things we have as our asset is our time more than anything. You know, we have to learn this. We have to get this. I hear people all the time even complaining about barbershops going up, or they're complaining about a store or a soul food place or what they're charging. But your kids got on Jordans. Like your kid, like, and I know these moms really can't afford the $250, $300 sneaks, but they're gonna buy them sneaks. And I know when she's putting her little card up there or cash, it's hurting her heart. But in her mind, I want my baby to have the best. I want him to be in the rankings with the other kids. You know what I mean? But when they come to your business to get the chicken dinner or whatever, oh, they don't went up in this, and they don't, or the barbershop. I don't get that part. You know what I mean? But I'm a mature man, so I look at it and say, yeah, but your kids got on Jordans. You know, that's $300. As far as giving back to people that are doing good service, a lot of us do tip, and we don't mind tipping if you're giving a good quality service.
That's right.
And we haven't been taught to tip. That's another thing. Our community has a lot of work that needs to be done, which is fine, but we just have to start doing the work. It's like we can't keep talking about it. Like, Black people have been known not tipping for years. Black people have been known to complain about Black people and their businesses for years. When is it going to stop? When are we going to say, hey, we support quality? It's not just about supporting Black business. It's about supporting good quality Black businesses or quality businesses, period. You know, if you got a little half-ass business and you just, okay, maybe I can try to help you out. But if you see a service suck, people not on time, you're running out of product, the girls fighting inside, y'all talking about anything in the shop, you're talking about anything. Now we got a problem, sis. Somebody needs to bring you to the side and say, listen, I want you to be a good business, but y'all can't have all this nonsense going on in business. Right. So it's a lot of stuff that I watch as a businessman over the years. And we will do a lot of pointing fingers, but we know about pointing fingers. You got 4 pointing at you. I'm more concerned of the ones that's pointing at me that I need to fix myself. If somebody's out here trying to stop me to score on that football field, they on the other side in their huddle, I'm not going to cry while y'all trying to stop me from scoring. I'm just going to huddle up with my team and say, let's get our play together so we can get to the end zone. We still crying about another team that's huddling, doing what they're supposed to do, even when they got businesses in our communities. They doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to go make money and get back to their family. Guess what? We're supposed to be doing the same thing in their communities because money's green and we want everybody's green. That's what I thought. You know,
I'm gonna say this one thing though, Derrick. But they don't let us come into their communities like we let them come into ours.
And look at that.
Right.
And another thing is, when you talk about Black businesses, you know, I helped out a person just a couple years back, and you got to have some morals and be a good business person yourself, because the person that I was dealing with, he wasn't even paying the bills, you know, and
Wow.
You're taking money in from people, but you're not even doing your part, and you're giving them half behind service and everything.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know what they're doing now. They're probably still doing the same thing. But as a Black man, they look at us differently than what they look at everybody else.
I agree.
This is one of the things. We have to show them that we are not equal, but better than them.
I totally agree. I think we're from some of the most beautiful people in the world and the most talented and gifted people. We need to treat each other better. We need to stop devaluing each other. We have to see that this guy is doing a great business, or he got a great construction company, like the brother said. He tried his. He said, "Man, I tried to support Black business, but y'all got to come correct, because one thing about Black community, our money is hard to come by, and when we get it, we want to make sure that we spend it on something quality that we're going to reap a good return. I don't want to be hiring you to do a work and now I got to buy a new door the next day. I don't want to be hiring you to do work and now you disappear on me. You know, I don't want that. I want to come into your barbershop and they got anything on that TV, and my kids are sitting here and my wife is sitting here and my aunts and stuff. I don't want that. So don't cry about people don't support you if you're doing half-ass work. Come on, man, let's be real with this. But to the brothers and sisters that's doing quality in our neighborhood, man, y'all got to look out for them. Y'all got to support them and tip them and build them up and say, listen, this, and be proud of them, stick your chest out and say, look, not this business. This is a good business we got. And we have to, and we don't do that. We don't uplift even the good businesses. We don't. We just don't.
And you know, in our faith communities have a lot to do with what you just described. Also, you know, the faith community used to be the backbone of our communities, but they are not no more. And even in my community, most of us that go to my mosque, we don't even live in the city. And my interfaith group is the same thing with the Jews and the Christians. We all going through the same problem. So you're concerned, you know, even from the police department. How the police department going to have sympathy for his job in the city when he lives in the county? You don't know nothing about it. So we got, the problem is poor leadership for all the things that we're discussing right now. Because and you know what, man? The major problem that I'm looking at, and I get scolded sometimes for saying this, most of us don't know what tribe we came from. See, that's one thing that slavery done to us, and I'm reading that book now, another book on slavery. The slavery thing took away all that kind of morality and all that kind of depending on one another. And then when they killed Dr. King and they killed Malcolm, we went from the moral issues to the economic issues. Everybody want to make a dollar. Everybody want to be, you know. So the moral, we have lost that moral stability that we had. And you know, we were talking about this, and we'll talk about this on another show. The church. When I say the church, I'm talking about the Islamic community, the Jewish community, and the Christian community. My late leader said, "Where's the best place for the devil to hide? In the pulpit of all three of these institutions." Right? They went from moral issues that would build our communities up like this into making money. Look at all the priests and look at all the pastors around this America. You dig what I'm saying? So here's a young boy coming. His mom ain't read no scripture. His grandma ain't read no scripture, and he ain't read no scripture. Then when they take the prayer out of school and they give us an education system that's the German education system, then we go into other areas of confusion, especially when it comes to loving each other for the sake of loving each other. I don't like a whole lot of us, and I don't like a whole lot of other people. But when I stopped hating white people and started hating what they do, my life changed around to the person that people think I am now. You know, I'm a motivator. I'm an entrepreneur in my own right. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to be on a bigger scale, but I'm trying to bring the brotherhood of us together to come on the business scale.
Right.
You know, because that way, and again, instead of going after the carrot, we go after all the carrots. You know what I'm saying? So when we get that kind of understanding and not having a father in the house, I live in West Center City. You know, there's 600 residents in West Center City, a single female head of households. You know what I mean? So I'm a father. I got the police the other night to take some young kids home like they would have done to any other kids because they was opening doors as they walked down the street coming from somewhere making noise. And they couldn't figure out what to do with them. And they found out they was not of age. And me and my neighbor came out and said, take them home then. You would do that to the dominant culture kids, take them home. So when they start seeing that love is the thing that nourishes you to do what you did. You said your father wasn't there for a period of time, but when you got older, you got in a closer relationship. You know what I mean? And he gave you that guardian for you to have 3-4 business. I love them kind of stories. And I love to go into prison with them kind of stories to tell them other little brothers how to be successful when they get out of jail. And that's what I'm working on now with my son been in jail for 20 years. I'm working on when you come home, get in a welding school. When you come home, get in a construction. The Department of Corrections in Delaware don't even have that kind of stuff for you. It ain't that deep. Those 300 brothers went to Pennsylvania from the prisons, are there and don't want to come back. They learning plumbing, they learning electricity, they learning, you know what I'm saying? They learning those kind of skills that if they come back and stay together, they'll be more successful than trying to make it on your own like that. So that's my entrepreneur training mechanism.
Right. Well, one topic I want to discuss, Imam Hassan mentioned earlier about community activism. If you look at our society today, the Black Lives Matter movement is big, based on recent police brutality incidents. There have been marches all across the United States of America, as well as the world. I want to ask you individuals, I'm going to start off with Miguel, and anyone else can chime in after him. What is your take on the Black Lives Matter movement, and does protest work?
Well, I've been doing some studying and researching as of late for the past few months. And from the inception of the Black Lives Matter, their mission has changed. And it, to me, I think it got hijacked. It got hijacked by the other side because it was for us Black people, and they had a certain agenda that they was pushing. But now it's saying that their agenda has switched over to where it's kind of taking some of the focus off of what our issues is in the community. Even though I know that they've been out there fighting for Black lives, but it's still, I think it's been hijacked because it's kind of a more of a universal type of meeting versus just focusing on our Black community, And protesting, does it work? We've been protesting for years, and we're still getting shot by the hands of police. So I don't think all the singing and kumbaya and all the sign holding and chanting the marching, even rioting and looting, that's not even working because we've been doing it since the 50s and 60s, and we still haven't seen much progress. I've been following the brother for a few months now, Grandmaster Jay, and he has started a Black militia.
Right.
And I think that Black militia is something that we definitely need because the only way you can fight power is with power. And it seems like the only thing that the other side understands is that, if you got guns, we got guns too. So we need something to say that we're not just going to stand up anymore and just take what you give us, and we're going to go out and we're going to riot, we're going to protest for a few weeks, and that's it. We're going to sit down at the table and try to change some laws, or they writing Black Lives Matter on the street, take down a few statues, raise a few flags, put up some more statues in reference to the honor of Black people. But that's still not changing all the injustice that happens. And in order for us to really make some changes, it's not by protesting, it's by all coming together as one and being organized, mobilized, strategized, and start really making an impact on the community. Every major city in America that has a high population of Black people, they should get together and form a coalition to where we putting our own candidates up, to run for local offices, to run for mayor, for city council, to run for a governor, to run for a Senate, or to represent House of Representatives. We should have our own collective to where we're going to promote our own candidate and endorse them, and then say, if we want to get our vote, you need to do something directly for us. A lot of people don't understand how powerful our vote is as a collective. But when we vote, we don't have a list or a demand to give to the person that we're voting for or to the candidate to say, okay, if you want our vote, then you need to sign this contract with us. You know, Ice Cube is right now is promoting a contract to some of the presidential candidates now. It's been in the news that Ice Cube had came up with a contract. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I heard that it's making some good moves and it's kind of giving the blueprint for other communities to follow the same thing. And with the Black militia, it's something that's been spreading all across the United States. It's growing, and they showed a presence in Louisville, Kentucky, when they were talking about the Breonna Taylor case. They had a strong presence there. They did a march in Stone Mountain back in July 4th. So in fact, the Black militia is really gaining way, and I really support the movement because it's something different than what we've seen before. And the closest we got to it with the Black Panther Party in the 60s and 70s, whereas they started community policing, where they started unifying our people to support our businesses more, to support our businesses, to support our communities, and really start to take effect in our community to whereas we can police ourselves and we could, you know what I'm saying, create that unity. But like Brother Yusuf said, it's so hard for us to unify. It's so hard for us to even unify just in our family situation. It's hard to do it. So imagine trying to unify the masses of people to be on one accord. You know, so I think that protesting and rioting and looting hasn't worked in the past. Now it's time for us to really unite with a strong show of power, exercise our First and Second Amendment rights.
See, one thing we got, I told the Black.
Can I say something? Can I say something real quick? I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree at all. But one of the things about the Black Lives Matter movement, like I see them marching in town, and I give big ups to Brother Key Booker that's out there doing it and everything. But let me tell you what I find to be very important. If you look at the statistics on how many Black men or people are beaten and shot and killed by cops compared to the statistics of how we're killing each other.
Come on now.
How we're killing each other.
Come on, say
and
it.
Nobody's saying nothing about
say that.
When are we going to start policing ourselves
Come
in
on,
our neighborhood?
Corey.
We talk about, hey, we got to get ready for the cop. We got to get ready for ourselves because we are killing ourselves more than anybody else in this country. They don't talk about the thousands of people that shot out in Chicago. Listen, let's not even go to Chicago. Let's go right here in Delaware. Let's go right here in Wilmington. Let's talk about they had a double homicide just the other week. They had shootings and everything. They had a Zoom meeting on the problems with the shootings going on. They got these people knowing who's shooting these other people. These kids are dying. The young Black men are dying at an enormous rate around here, and nobody's saying nothing about it. We are killing our own, and they ain't saying nothing. Will it be gunshots? Will it be drug dealing? Listen, you get these young boys, they shooting around. They know who shot who, and ain't nobody saying nothing. But as soon as one of these cops jump on somebody, oh man, this is not right. Oh, we got to do something about it. But what are we doing about us killing ourselves? What are we doing about that? We're not doing nothing. We're not policing our neighborhoods. If you see something, say something. Silence is murder. Silence is murder, because if you don't say something, it's going to keep going on. You got these brothers out here selling drugs, everything. Listen, let me tell you about drug dealing. Drug dealing causes murder. Drug dealing causes prostitution. Drug dealing causes theft and thieves, because you'll be desperate to do anything you can, okay? And you're not thinking of in the proper state of mind. We have to be more responsible on what's going on in our communities as ourselves, and then we can let everybody else know what they're doing wrong. Police your own community. We won't even clean up in front of our own houses. If you don't believe me, look out there and you'll see for yourself. But we have to be more responsible. You know, somebody's out here selling drugs and out here shooting and everything. Hey, I'm not going to be no snitch. Well, sometimes you got to be a snitch. If you want results, you're going to have to do the right thing. And they say, oh man, that's wrong for you to do. Well, you know what I've been told? I heard this a long time ago. Do the wrong thing. When you do the right thing, it was the right thing for you to do. I said that.
You know what?
You know what I meant. do the wrong thing, do the right thing, or do, okay, I messed it up. So let's go on. But still, we really, really have to sit back and look. Hey man, what's going on in our communities? And it's not, you can't tell me how many cops shot some young boys in the city in the last month. Can you tell me? I mean, I'll sit and wait. Nobody can. But how many young boys shot each other in this city this month? Or the last 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm. And
I did security for a funeral for 2 young men that got shot on East 35th Street. Right. 2 friends. Both of them died. This is ridiculous. 2 young teenage men.
That.
And nobody's saying nothing about that. Nobody's marching about that. This is the stuff that we're not marching about, that we're not talking about and everything. It's like we're not going to address that elephant in the room. We need to address that and then worry about this other stuff sometimes.
Say who's really responsible for not saying nothing? Our freaking leaders are responsible for saying something, because even that Booker boy is out here doing that. But one of the things I told them real quick, because I said, if you really want to do something, and I differ also coming out of the civil rights, human rights area, that these things have brought us, we're living better now than we was living when my dad was a young man. You know, when he saw a lynching in North Carolina of the mother, the father, and the son, and the daughter, because they was entrepreneurs and they moved to Delaware and Brooklyn, New York to get away from that. My thing, when I told Key and them, I said, if you don't keep God out front of your movement, you're going to fall into a whole lot of crap anyway. But the one thing that on my mind is, if you really wanted to do something to get people together in our country, our people together, let's get some African-American lawyers to get into those black codes underneath the Constitution that say black people are 3/5 of a human being. That's educational, because you know I tell you I'm an educator. That's educational to the young people to find out who they really are, because there's no such thing as a black person or African-American person. And as long as we keep calling ourselves by these names, the black code say there's no law that white people are supposed to adhere to when we calling ourselves. Look at the Dred Scott decision when he couldn't tell them his nationality, and he was right, and they voted against that. So my point is, they're saying that our people are lost in the sauce, and it's coming from our leadership more than it's coming from anybody else.
I'm sorry, brother Umar, I can't agree on totally all of that. For the mere fact is, when we're talking about these murders, we're talking about these shootings, we're talking about these assaults, we're doing it to ourselves. If we don't start policing ourselves from the beginning, why are we letting somebody else police us when we got to do it for ourselves? You said it just like we said, do for self.
You got to be taught to do that. That ain't gonna just come up in your head out of not knowing who you are. When I walked in Black Man's Development Center in the streets in the 70s with a blackjack, a can of mace, Marcus Garvey uniforms, beret that I showed you the picture of, we reduced crime by their statistic by 30 to 40%. And I agree with that. But in order to do that, we knew who we are. And if you don't know who you are, you're not going to take on that responsibility. And again, I reiterate, all of that started from Jim Crow, etc., from the faith community. And as long as they're not out front, nobody else is going to come out front. And them black people ain't going to come out there. Well, who suffers the most from all this stuff going around the whole world? The women, the children, and the elderly. And the other day I found out I was one of the elderly, and I've been fighting like hell against this. And now I'm beginning to start fighting like heaven against this, because I've been fighting like hell and ain't catching nothing but hell. So once our young men, and especially our women, when I do the funerals, and you see me do the funerals, I tell you, the women are the key. If y'all stop falling for the okie doke, because you are the mothers of civilization. You are the majority of the human beings on the planet Earth, because they make us do what we do and do it the right way. If you got a good woman, they did. My wife of 50 years is the one that took me off the corner of 7th and Monroe, smoking weed and drinking Ripple, to being a decent human man that's now a faith-based person who's talking like this, saying all of that you said is correct. But how do we get to our young people to start doing that? We got to show them that we're together and working together. on these things and talk about it. Because there's people underneath the tables and not in the spotlight. And I'm one of them. You know, I don't like the spotlight. That we're talking about these things and we're coming up with things. That's why I took over the presidency of the West Tennessee Neighborhood Planning Council, because they had over $2 million taken from them and put in the riverfront. And my city's councilman opened that door, then we got 10 houses. We can put up emergency shelter houses. Same thing we try and do at the masjid. Because we got to show these kids something, especially the faith community working together. They have no respect for God. None whatsoever. That's why my son down the joint done said, he said, Abi, they are so ignorant to the unity of God. And so once you don't have God in your life, you are going to, well, you know, Tori, what the Asa say, barely through the ages of time, man is lost, except those that have spirituality, doing good deeds, and be patient with everything that befronts you. Our people ain't like that because they ain't taught like that. So I don't blame them for not that. I know we got the two little voices inside of us that tell us right and wrong, but how many people even talk about them? When I was talking to Maurice Pritchard and them about changing the curriculum in our high schools and stuff, the first thing I taught him was the two voices. He said, that's a good mechanism to use in educating our kids. Pay attention to the voice that tells you to do what's right and you'll never go wrong. We ain't got nobody talking like that in public. You know, look at Joe Biden. I ain't supporting Joe Biden.
Right, let me ask this question. Imam Hassan mentioned Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There are those in the community who say, we don't have no leaders. There are no leaders today. So is that why we in the condition that we are in today? Derrick, Miguel, anything you want to chime in on that?
Sorry, say it one more time. I didn't miss the last part.
Oh, okay. So there are those who say that we don't have any leaders today, that there's no Malcolm, that there's no Marcus Garvey, that there's no Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., there's no Edgar Meggers. What do you say about that?
I think it's wrong. Actually, we do have leaders. I just think that sometimes it seems like they're in hiding or they have a different agenda nowadays. I think our brother Iman touched on it a lot, that we went from morals to economics to money. You know, everybody want to get the bag now. You know what I mean? You know, and it's about the bag. And getting to what Brother Corey was saying, I have to agree with a lot of stuff that Brother Corey was saying. I also agree with Brother Imam was saying. It's like the cause and effect. So one of them, Corey was really talking about the effects of what we're going through. You know what I mean? It's really bad. When are we gonna hold ourselves accountable for this? And then you got Brother Imam saying, well, the reason why, because they haven't been taught this, it haven't been. So I get, and they both making great points. As far as even the Black Lives Matter, I had my thing with that. Imagine me going to a mother who's saying your son just got shot, and now I tell her he got shot by the police, and now she goes in a rage. She's snapping, she protesting, she want everybody on her squad. Listen, my son got shot by the cops. But if I told her Juju shot her, you think that mom gonna be like,
right?
Oh, okay, well, long as he died on both ends. But long as Juju shot him, I guess it's better. We ain't gotta make no noise. What kind of bull what is that? That's what's going on in our community. It's amazing that I'm Black Lives Matter. Hey, Black Lives Matter, especially if you got shot for a wrong reason or over some BS. But it don't matter to me who shot you and wrongdoing, whether the cop or Juju. Why do we keep making a difference? You think I'm gonna tell this mom that she got shot by Juju and she gonna feel better that she lost her son than if she got shot by a cop and lost his life too?
Absolutely right.
Are y'all kidding me?
I agree.
I mean, it's unbelievable that our community is doing that. You good, Mom. He died, but he got shot by one of the brothers around the way. It wasn't no cop. At least it wasn't no cop. What in the world? You know what I mean? But this is the stuff that I hear going to the barbershop, and you have to give people facts over feelings. Yes, there's some economic issues out here. There's some stuff that's unfair to us, but traps have been set for Black people since the beginning of time. The problem is why we keep walking in the trap and grabbing the cheese. You understand what I'm saying? People been giving communities guns for years. My question to the community, why you keep pulling the trigger on us?
That's right.
Hey, listen.
That's where I'm at with it.
And that's why they have to be taught.
Going around insanity, and keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome. And to the brother point, protesting may work, but we've been doing it for years. When are we going to collect ourselves and stop begging and asking? What other race is begging and asking people to do stuff for them? You know what they do? They tell you what you're going to do, because we're going to vote and we're going to put you in office. If you don't do what we tell you to do, we're going to take you out of office. But here us, we don't even go vote. So guess what? They don't care what we say. They're not hearing you. Don't show up at the booth. How you gonna control me? You know, white people say, I pay your tax, I pay my taxes, I pay your salary. Salary. We all vote and we put you in office and we'll take you out the office. But
That's
we
exactly
don't
what
have
it
that
is.
leverage. We don't have that because we don't understand the system. Man, we got to get to the point where we understand this is chess and
educate
not checkers.
ourselves.
You
That's
understand what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
To
I want to
educate
be real with
ourselves.
y'all. It's facts over feelings with me, and I appreciate Corey even saying that, bringing that up, because Corey, you do make a great point there. We
Absolutely.
do got to look at ourselves.
That's right.
And
And we
here's
ain't
the thing.
doing that.
At the
There
same time,
is
there is some economic stuff.
there is more than two kind of leaders. You got the ones that are leading them the wrong way, and you got the ones that are leading them the right way. The ones that are leading them the right way, I feel, just aren't speaking up enough. Now, the ones that are leading them the wrong way, oh, they listening to them because see, they like that excitement. They like that negative energy and everything. And we fall into that real quick. We will listen to that negative energy before we listen to some positive stuff. And
Well, you know, negative
hate
news
to
travels
say
6
that.
times faster than it is proven. You can look it up. Negative news travels 6 times faster than positive news. Just so you know,
Absolutely right.
6 times
Absolutely right.
faster. And
So
so
we
on
have to
Facebook,
learn.
you'll see something like that. So,
We have to learn to start policing our own communities. We have to learn to get the community to say, hey, listen, you see something going on wrong. You got to address it as a community. Listen, if I'm in a community selling drugs in the middle of the street and enough of these people stand up, they're going to be like, yo, you got to get up out of here. If you know somebody shot somebody, yo, we ain't going to be tolerating that in our neighborhoods. We don't go out to everybody else's neighborhood and do that because we're going to get locked up and everything like that. And then when you do when the young boys, young kids do the wrong things and they get pulled over by the cops, you got to let them know there's consequences to your actions.
This is chestnut checkers, man. You got to learn how to use your mind over the matter. We got to teach each other to think. We have to understand there is a systemic racism. We get it. There is it. And we're not fighting against people. We are fighting against a system that's been placed years ago to keep us behind the 8 ball. We're only fighting the people who are still trying to uphold that. But contrary to popular belief, over in Portland, Oregon, those are white people fighting for Black Lives Matter. Y'all do know that.
Right. That's
Those
right.
are white people that's not giving up.
The ones that had that little compound.
And you're going to have to embrace them because more than anything, and more than any time in our history, we needed white people to come to bat and say, racism wrong. This system is wrong. I'm tired of this. This is unfair. These are human people. These are white people saying that y'all important in Oregon that's not letting up. When we done gave up waiting on the next shooting. We done gave up. We're going to protest a couple days, but then we done.
You know what they say with us? And I've heard this and everything. And I want you to pay attention to it. They say, and like you said, you see more white people doing marching right now than you see people of color. They say when a Black man gets shot or assaulted by the police or something like that, and they make a big stink about it, they're going to do it. The people say they're going to do it for about a couple weeks, and then they'll just die down and forget about it. And if you haven't paid attention to it, it seems to happen that way. This is the longest running one that they've had so far.
Right. I agree.
That's because they keep on killing us. It's been so many people. It's been so many people, police shootings out there that it's not. When do we ever end it? When is it going to change? So they've been protesting for over 100 days, for 150 days, and it seems like every single week there's a new video that's being released, And I understand that in our communities we have the Black on Black crime, but that right there is a result from like the brother said, Jim Crow, and also from slavery. We've never been taught to love ourselves. We've never been taught to uplift ourselves.
I agree.
But we got to learn.
The system.
Malcolm said, "How
we got to start.
And that's where
you got to start somewhere.
That's where the community policing come in. I remember in Wilmington a couple years ago, there was an initiative with the churches where they had churches take a corner, and you had church members on corners, every other corner in certain high crime areas. That was the deterrent from the crime to a deterrence for crime. How are you gonna have drug dealers in the corner if you got a bunch of church folks that's there praying and singing? We used to have the outside revivals all through the summertime. I used to see the tents being up. I don't see that no more. So I think that's how community policing starts. It starts by us getting together. We need to get together 100, 200 Black men and go into these communities and say, hey, we're fed up with this. We're going to police our own community. We're going to keep our ears to the street and we're going to make sure that we know what's going on around our communities. In the 50s and 60s, that's what we had. The perfect example, Black Panthers. When they was becoming successful and they became nationwide, they had community organizations. They had
free lunches, food, right?
Right. They had some to uplift the people. And if a cop pulled over a black man, they was right there watching them, made sure the cop upheld their position, and they wasn't scared to be armed. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we have our rights to protect ourselves, and we also have a right to protect our community. But like I said before, it is so hard to get unification and to get our community all on one accord because of Jim Crow, because of slavery. We all suffering from this post-traumatic slave syndrome and a disorder that they're not talking about. We never had psychological help, so it affects our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, grandparents, down to our fathers and mothers, to our brothers and sisters, down to ourselves, that we're still going through it. And this is the result of it, self-hate. There's no self-love.
Well, I think more than I think that's true what you're saying, but I also think that more than any time in history, we at a point where people are really starting to wake up, or at least listening to us.
Now
I'm not saying listening to us a lot. I'm not saying that it's all kumbaya and change, but for some reason, with the George Floyd situation, something triggered, something changed over, and we all felt it. Like, it's a little different where people, they're getting it. You know what I mean? So now white people coming in, or now Chinese people and Latinos they starting to protest. We see the change. Now we have to capitalize and embrace that. Another thing we're gonna have to do is start allowing the young people to know how important they are. A lot of times they don't feel a part of the community. They don't feel a part of nothing. You know what I mean? We gotta make them feel part. There are good communities out here that's doing some stuff. I mean, good centers or whatever that are doing some. We gotta start lifting up these centers.
Well, we have a lot of our political leaders.
But can I say this?
Leaders ain't doing nothing.
Okay, and you're absolutely right, because we got a lot of political leaders. Let me say this. I want you to look around this city. How many recreational centers do they have for these young kids today for them to go and do anything?
Not enough.
You got Brown's Boys Club. I don't even know if they're open all the time. You got the Powell Center. Chris Purnell is doing a great job over there. And you got Fran's Boys Club on the outskirts of the city. That's not even in the city, because I think Ellesmere patrols that. They tore down Jackson Street's gone.
It closed. It's gone.
They closed that Boys Club. You building up all this stuff. You're giving these big tax write-offs to these big companies and businesses. Why don't you put, instead of that big tax write-off, go, listen, since you're building this over here, since you're buying this over here, why don't you take $1 million and build us on each side of the city a recreational center for these kids to go have an outlet at, to go do something at. You could put one over North Side. You could put one in Riverside. You could put one in South Bridge. You could put one in West Side. But we haven't done that yet. You take away something that they have, and now they can't go no place to have recreation. They can't go no place to have after school learning. They can't go no place to some of these places, some of these recreational centers were the only places these kids were getting good meals.
I remember a time a few decades ago. So I grew up in Wilmington. And when Mayor Seals was in office, the crime rate was so low in Wilmington. When Mayor Seals was in office, he put a lot of money into the youth and families development in the communities. When he had a youth and family services department, it was a department that he had that was just what you said, Corey. They was opening up different community centers. They had different programs for our youth to go to. Kingswood was doing pretty good. Western City was doing pretty good. They were just building the Powell Center around that time. You know, they had a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yeah, but I remember us having things. I remember us having.
They had the park. They had a youth and families building where the park and recreation building is right over the bridge, right over South Bridge. So it was the building for it. You know, but after Mayor Sills left, they started taking money out of the community. They shut down that department.
That's right.
They started to the riverfront, and they started putting money into the riverfront. They started putting money into downtown, and now you got the current mayor who just got reelected. He's putting all this money into the Rodney Square, taking money from the communities that need it the most. So that's why crime level is going up, because they took away all the community centers and all the plazas. I mean, all the community centers, all the Boys and Girls Clubs. They took it away, and they put more money into policing. We got a homicide unit now, which ain't solving no murders, ain't solving no crimes, because when it is black on black crime, cops ain't out there. They're not worried about trying to solve it. They ain't worried about trying to solve it. But let a black man kill a white man, they're gonna be all over it.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I'm saying?
okay, and let me. I want to play devil's advocate real quick. But even in that, and we know they're not funded. And we know they're not doing. We know we keep saying they not outside. But what are we gonna do for ourselves? Like,
Well,
my brother owns a community center called the Reed's Refuge Center, and he
that's my
attacked one of the
man.
main things that people actually these young kids love. Guess what they love? They love music. They love music. It's sad that they like the wrong music, but he has a community center called the Reed's Refuge Center where they teach engineer, songwriting, get you in the booth, got a live band room, got all these things that these kids, they like, y'all know the music touch these kids. They doing everything. Matter of fact, a lot of times they acting the way they act because it's some song that told you to shoot them up and pop these pills. But here he doesn't, my brother's not about none of that stuff that, as far as his community center, but he got this scream and pull too just to get funding. You know what I mean? But he's been doing it on a muscle. He ended up just buying the whole block down there. Thank God. God bless him. Shout out to my brother, my twin brother, Ferrell, who also has a great community center. And he needs help down there. Let's get him back to something that's actually being effective and that's actually touching these kids on things that they really feel a part of. And
where's he located at, Reed?
He's at 1601 Pine Street, 1600 Pine Street, right there. Yeah.
So,
right,
so we need, since this is on Facebook and social media, we need to pump that kind of stuff up so some people can go down there and maybe we could get him somebody to give some donations and everything up.
Absolutely, because he got a 40,000 square feet down there right now. He's been trying to get funding. He bought the whole block, and the great part about it used to be the probation office. It used to be probation that we know. This whole jail culture, the probation center, and he done turned into something great. He done turned into a community center for that community that actually touches on things that these kids love, and it's music. And he got so many other things that he's trying to offer. But again, those type of things that need to be funded, like donated to, that. Let's lift that up. Let's start with our own. I love what Corey's saying, and I hear him loud and clear. Like, let's help ourselves. Let's help ourselves, y'all.
Let's do for self.
Let's hold ourselves accountable. Let's be the father and the uncles to each other. Let's be the financial.
That we need to.
All right, gentlemen. So we got to close out. We just got a couple of minutes left. So with the last 2 minutes, I want to get to the Imam Umar Hassan. He's our elder. So any closing comments you have in 2 minutes, man?
I love this conversation, and I love these brothers for the conversation, and maybe we all need to get together to come up with something also. To publicize, because it's all about education, not all about, but it's all about education. You got to be educated to the things we talked about. Yeah, our people suffer for the lack of knowledge. Yes, that's true. So we need to put all this stuff together. When in Black Man's Development Center, like I told the people today I was talking to, we put together a third-party custody release program. And that brother got that center, man. I'd like to help you, and I'm gonna get the information from Omar where you at, because there's some monies and there's some money available right now, but everybody is trying to give it to who they want to give it to, and not to the people that's trying to do something. So we need to sit down and talk about that and get some knowledge together so we can do it. I walked the streets of Wilmington, Delaware in 1971. 1975 or 75. I know we can reduce crime in our own community, Corey, because we did it, like I tell you, with a blackjack, a can of mace, and a handcuff, and a third-party custody release program. So we could do it again, but we just need brothers to stop talking and start walking.
That's right. Action.
Okay. All right. Derrick Reed, your barbershop. Anybody want
and my thing is running out, so I got to go.
Phone number to your barbershop.
All right, before Brother Imam leave, you hear he leave real quick? He's still there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Brother Imam, let me tell you something. Real talk, bro, man, you blessed me so much, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I know you're a little bit older than all of us, but your mindset has done something to me, man, that inspired me. I mean, I really, really inspired by the words you were saying, everything you're saying. And again, I don't know how old you are, but you have a youth in your mindset. And I mean, it's just a spirit, the inspiration that you imparted in me, hearing you talk and the things that you talk about. I got to meet you. I have to meet you. So I just want you to know that.
I'll pay you that. We're going to do that.
Absolutely. And Brother Omar, thank you. Yep. Brother Omar, thank you so much for having us.
Tell Corey to give you my phone number.
Thank you
can meet in my match there and we can put together some.
What's your phone number?
I'll get that number to you.
Okay. Yo, just hit me at 302-559-2743.
Okay, Corey, how can they contact you for security or physical fitness exercising?
They can reach me at 302-275-0839.
Say it again.
302-275-0839.
Okay, Miguel, how can they contact you for your business?
They can reach me via email, mwfeliciano@gmail.com. And I'm on all social media platforms. They can reach me there, Miguel Feliciano.
All right, gentlemen, this was awesome. So I got to close
And I
out.
want to thank them too. Make sure I thank the brothers too. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank
Love
brother
y'all.
Thank you,
Omar.
brother.
Man, I
Thank
mean that.
Omar
And
Rashada.
Omar, thank you so
Omar,
much.
the man.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. This is an awesome
Yes,
show.
sir.
I loved it. We got to do it again. All right. God
Yeah.
I'm gonna
bless
bring you on
brothers.
my podcast, Omar.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Peace,
take care.
brothers.
God
Peace.
bless y'all. All right.
All right,
Right.
Peace.